Yay!
Speakers, Toastmasters Club of Fairfield, Iowa. Right?
Yay!
Will Burns.
Yo!
Yeah, Will.
Go for it. Go for it.
There it is, smile.
Thank you, Vera. Okay, we got a good night tonight. We have some experienced speakers. We have Ron Kerr speaking, very experienced Toastmaster. But we also have some new speakers. We have Slobodan
Not here.
giving his second speech for us. Always good to see you back. And we have Chris Younger giving his icebreaker.
Yeah.
Dan doesn't have a job.
Give you both. Now,
Dan.
I'm looking around here. I don't see any guests. So if any come in, I'll ask them later
You're
on
right.
for their comments. But in the meantime, it was my pleasure to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster. As it is, Jyoti Raj Adhikar.
All right.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. Today, I'm your host, a Toastmaster. My role is to see the meeting moves properly and see that the meeting ends at the time or on time. Today's theme, I thought it would be good to put Olympics because we have this Olympic going on. The Olympic is the games, the series started before the Christ and before the Buddha. It was started before 700 years before Christ. So I think that's the only thing, apart from cockroach, which still living with us in this universe. So that's a very old thing that we are carrying from 2,000 years. So that's a very important thing. And the very important thing, another thing about Olympic is almost all the countries in the world participate. And every country is behind it to conduct it in their country because they want the coherence of all these people. Because at once, everybody in the world, almost everybody is looking in that country, watching the game. And everybody had the mind, everybody put the mind that place now that would be the London. So all over the world, everybody will be thinking about the London. So they see after 10 years where London will be, because that coherence everybody wants. The only the game which can create that, the only the event which can create that thing is Olympics. So that's very important thing about the Olympics. Saying that, I would want to introduce the role player of the day. I myself am Toastmaster. Seth Brown is our counter. Seth, would you please tell your role?
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Seth Braun, and I'm the eye counter this evening. And if you haven't been to a meeting when I've had the privilege of being eye counter, I take it very seriously. And I'm setting out to go after you if you use filler words. I'll be tracking them meticulously, and you will be hearing all about it at the end. And I'm not going to treat you lightly. It's intense.
So Upendra Sharma would be timer. Please tell what is your role?
I will time the speeches. Every topic will be 1 to 2 minutes. Green light will turn on at 1 minute. Yellow light at 1 minute 30 seconds. And red light at 2 minutes. There will be 30 seconds grace period after 2 minutes. After that, person will be disqualified. Speeches, we have 4 to 6 minutes speech. So green light will turn on at 4, yellow at 5, and then the red at 6. And then you have 30 minutes grace period. Speeches, those are 5 to 7 minutes. Green light will turn on at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. And we have 8 to 10 minutes of speech. Am I right?
That's 12 ideally.
How much?
10 to 12.
Okay, so it will be 10 minutes, 11, and 12, and you, sir, will also have 30 seconds of grace period. Table topic evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes, green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3 minutes. Speech evaluators are for 2 to 3 minutes, green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and red at 3 seconds. All speakers and evaluators, I'm repeating again, have a 30-second grace period. After that, red light is turned on.
No, they disqualify.
After that, after the red light is turned on, and after that you will be disqualified. Table topic speakers need to speak for at least 1 minute to qualify for votes. Thank you.
Darling Martin will be the ballot counter, and Upendra Sharma himself will be general evaluator for the meeting. Will Bounce is the lead counter. Saying that, I would like to take you to the second part of the meeting. Oh, sorry, that's Vera Elizabeth will be the grammarian. Vera, please.
The word of the day, endure, endurance. To carry on through despite hardship. We all have to endure giving our first speech. After that, it gets easier. So I will be looking for select defined use of the word of the day and record its correct and incorrect use. Note all awkward and misuse of words. Report creative language uses. Do a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera.
I'll endure the meeting to the second part. Is that correct? To the second part, I hand over the mic, not mic, the electron to Tom Traynor.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, viewers at home. The theme is Olympics. I want a volunteer who doesn't have a role. And if you still have a role, don't have a major role. So who wants to volunteer that doesn't have, oh, right over here, Mr. Wilbur is volunteering. Yay! Will's going to show us all what Table Topic's about. He's going to practice extemporaneous speaking. Number 1 through 5, pick one.
Pick one.
Number 1, which is your favorite? The summer or the Winter Olympics, and why one is more favorite than the other?
Thank you, Table Topics Master, honored and distinguished guest, and fellow Toastmasters, as well as the viewers at home. For me, my favorite is winter. As a warm-blooded Canadian, I really feel the power, the element of humanity against both the elements and each other. I remember as a kid watching the movie Cool Running. It's a Disney movie about the Jamaican bobsled team and the experience they have competing. And while in the movie they don't actually triumph, it has a wonderful message about perseverance. And I'm reminded of a certain part where they're in the running, they're competing, and they want to get better. But to get better, they want to be like the Swiss, the masters of the Alps. So they do all these things, they start to behave like them and fall apart. It's a mess. Even as a kid, I think I probably wanted to cry with tears streaming down my face to see that. But when they go back, remember the joy that they have as competitors and as Jamaicans and how they do bobsled in Jamaica. They don't win,
Ah!
but they triumph in a much more important stage in terms of being authentic, true, and ultimately at home. Thank you.
A wonderful story of endurance. Who else do we have that wants to volunteer to do a table? Mr. Seth Braun.
I do.
You may come up.
Can you do the outcome?
There won't be any games. 2 through 5.
2.
Number 2. Which is your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Why does that intrigue you?
The favorite Olympic sport to watch.
Yes, and
Why
why?
does that intrigue me?
Yes.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Last year, I was intrigued by the Olympics, last Summer Olympics, when Michael Phelps was coming close to gaining more Olympic medals than anyone else in history. And he won by 1/100th of a second, I believe.
Yes.
So I will venture off topic slightly and talk about the profound lesson that holds for me. So here is a young man who is currently known as the most winning Olympic athlete of all time. And we've heard from Jyoti Raj that the Olympics are older than Christianity and Buddhism. And so here's a guy who has the status of being the most winning gold medalist of all times. And the difference between being known as the most winningest gold medalist of all times and being a really good Olympian with a lot of gold medals is 1/100th of a second in one race, in 1 year. Think about that. 1/100th of a second defines a huge, this could be, for the next 100 years, he could be looked at in the history books as the most winningest Olympian of all time. That his name could be indelible. It will endure until someone else breaks it, but the chances are pretty low of that happening. Where are we in our lives able to go that 1/100th of a second improvement to get that kind of huge result? Where in our lives could we just move a little bit farther out of our comfort zone of what we're used to see if we can have an enduring impact for our children or our community or our lives? Mr. Toastmaster. Mr.
Again, it's all about endurance. Isn't that amazing? Who else wants to play the game of, oh, Vera, come on up, dear. Come on up. Let's have more fun. Okay. Number 3, 4, or 5. Number 3. If you had unlimited funds, unlimited time to train for one Olympic event, and you had the physiology, what would that event be? And why would you put that much effort? Give us a story about that.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. Yes. I guess mine would be ice skating in the community where I grew up, it was very few things we were allowed to do. And whenever I could peek into a home that had TV and any Olympics were on, I was really intrigued with ice skating. So I watched Peggy Fleming go through her high part in her life. And why would I give it that much time? Because in Pennsylvania, where I grew up, there was lots of ice. It was easy to put a lot of time in on the ice. And we, as a community, had our various games. And I was pretty good at it, but not the best, because I didn't dedicate that much time. I think it's a very wonderful sport, something that you can do outdoors, and it's also a sport you can do in a community setting. We played ice hockey and tag and different things on the ice, and just think it's a wonderful community thing to do. Thank you.
Knowing we have a tight time schedule, we will now vote for the best table topic speaker. Upendra, who is the speakers and did they qualify?
Will Burns and Vera qualified, and Seth Brown was in overtime.
Overtime. So pick one, Vera or Will. Will. In an attempt to stay on time, Stacy, are you ready to be the table topics evaluator?
Yes.
Please join me up front, and we will turn the meeting over to you. Please welcome Stacy Maurer, the executive person herself.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. My job is to evaluate all the table topics. So I'll start with Will Burns. His subject was which is his favorite Olympics, the Winter Olympics or the Summer Olympics. So I thought it was really good. He walked up here with a lot of confidence, and he completely ignored the clock dropping to the floor. You know, I thought it was probably a good call. Didn't need to distract us with that. Just went right on with his speech. Also made a joke. Tom said pick one, and he said I'll pick one. So did you notice that? And he also told a great story about the Jamaican bobsled team and how he'd watched that story as a kid and what they did right at the end. There's only one improvement I have for you, Will. I would suggest that at the last sentence, your voice kind of dropped down at the end, and I missed the last word. So maybe if you would have slowed down and maybe not drop so much. I guess you have a deep voice.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a great story, and it made a lot of jokes in there. It was great. Seth talked about the most winning Olympic gold medal athlete of all time. Right off, Seth's like a master speaker. He used the word of the day very easily in there. And he also quickly shifted it from kind of just a story about the most winning Olympic gold medalist into kind of an inspirational and educational type speech, which I thought was really like a nice twist to it, you know. It kind of gave us something to think about and chew on. I would have liked to have seen him make a little bit stronger or at least slower conclusion, because I felt like he kind of gave us something to chew on and then quickly left the stage. So I would have liked you to see it to slow down just a little bit on that ending part. But it was really cool how you turned it into an inspirational speech for us. Vera talked about what Olympic sport would she would do if she had unlimited resources and the time and so on. And she chose ice skating. I liked how she told more about her community and what she was doing as a kid and why she would choose ice skating. The one comment I think I would have for you is maybe move around a little bit more instead of staying in one spot. That was all I would say, but thanks for telling us more about your childhood. That's all I have. And I'll turn it over to the Toastmaster, Jody Roddick.
Yo!
Welcome back. We'll move to the next part of our meeting, This is the prepare speech phase, where our members prepare the speech and present their speech here. Let me welcome Cindy Traynor to read objectives for Chris Younger for his first and very first icebreaker.
Chris Younger is doing his icebreaker tonight. He's also joining the club tonight.
Yay!
Chris's objectives doing his icebreaker are the following: to begin speaking before his audience, and to discover speaking skills he already has and skills that could use some attention. Chris Younger is our newest member, as I already said before, and he's going to give his icebreaker tonight. Chris is 23 and from Seattle, Washington. He loves long walks on the beach, making music, and short films. As a hobby, please join me in warmly welcoming Chris Younger.
Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, special guests. My speech tonight is called Chris Younger. Who? Who is Chris Younger? In the past, Chris Younger was an artist, a poet, an athlete, a jock, a prep, but was scared of life. He did it to make friends. He did it to be cool with his family because he was the middle child and always hung out with his older sister. So he had to make an impression on everyone. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life. He just enjoyed the moment and created any type of fun he could for anyone. That's a good thing, but also a bad thing. He didn't really value much. He valued his family, he valued his friends. He didn't grow up in a sheltered place. It was more like, go do as you want. It's kind of the ghetto mentality, but without the ghetto. If that makes sense. Chris loved to party, loved to dance, but never knew he loved performing until just recently. Who was Chris Younger? Chris Younger will be a strong, valued community asset in whatever community he's in. He will be looked up by younger children, siblings, peers, and businessmen. Chris will own a business. He will dabble into anything and everything he could to make a difference. Some people say that's not good, you should focus on one thing, but maybe it's not. Chris Younger also wants to be a billionaire. He wants to make his own city in Africa that has water, a sort of a sustainable city, just brand new. With the new consciousness arising in about 40 years, that doesn't seem impossible. Chris Younger has very big, ambitious goals, but as Maharishi says, if you want to dream big. Then we'll see what happens. Who is Chris Younger? Chris Younger now is a friend, an uncle, father, a siddha. He's been meditating for about 9 months now. Enjoys it. He loves traveling. He has 3 rules for himself to live on in order
order to evolve spiritually. It's non-attachment, non-inner resistance, and non-judgment. Everyone he sees, think of the best. Everyone, even killers that kill people, you don't look at lions when they kill deer as bad things. They just survive. Who knows what was over them? Maybe they needed it for some type of lesson, spiritually. Chris Younger now reads every day, reads 10 pages at least, and that way he'll be able to read about 13 books every year. Makes a good time if you do it consistently. He tries to make one new friend a day and enjoys everything he could. He puts himself in situations that would make him uncomfortable, because that is the biggest way to grow and evolve as a person. I'm glad to be here tonight. I've never spoke before an audience, but I like it. Who is Chris Younger? Does anybody know? Ha! Me either. Thank you.
Great speech. I welcome Dan Craig.
No.
Oh, sorry. I will take 2 minutes to gather the speaker. Let me welcome Dan Craig to read Objectives for Ron Care, who is doing his CC9.
Yo!
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. Tonight, Ron is going to be doing project number 9. The objectives in the manual are to persuade the listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas, or to take some action. Appeal to the audience's interests. Use logic and emotion to support your position, and avoid using notes. I suspect he'll do well on the last one for sure. The title of his talk is Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder versus Post-Traumatic Strength. Ron Kerr is a Vietnam veteran and has been extremely interested in post-traumatic stress disorder all these years. Tonight, Ron will attempt to cover a lot of ground to ultimately encourage us all to attend and support an upcoming event this Saturday at the Art and Convention Center at 2 p.m. It's called Healing the Hidden Wounds of War. It's a forum for Iowa veterans. Please warmly welcome Ron Kerr.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. How many of you heard that? Okay, and there's something inside. Now, that wasn't as dramatic as it might have been. Had it been back there as a more startling and subtle noise, you all would have went, oh, what's that? You would have turned. Why? Because your survival is at stake. Every one of us, our human survival, our personal and humanity at large, our survival is at stake, because what if something horrible is coming behind us? We need to turn around, figure it out, and jump quickly, or fight, or run, or whatever it is we're going to do. I'm going to cover a lot of territory, so pardon me if I gloss over some of the details, but I think you'll get the whole picture as a result. So survival, the way that hardwired into our brains, and this is hardwired, you've got no control over this. This is the amygdala. It's about the size of an almond, about centered in the brain there, and it's designed for one purpose, to draw our attention to sudden and unexpected movement and behavior in our environment. Now, it is wired to the central nervous system, and the central nervous system goes 2 ways. Okay. It goes a lot of ways, but we're going to go to the 2. One is the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is that part of the nervous system that frows up. We call it arousal. We're ready to go and do anything we need to do. The sympathetic. The parasympathetic is the opposite. It's the moment calm, settle, relaxed. So the central nervous system has both of these going on concurrently. So when that sudden noise or startling, whatever it is in our environment, kicks in, all of a sudden this puppy kicks in, the sympathetic kicks in, to the extent that it needs to. Once we turn around and we evaluate the situation, and all this is happening in a fraction of a second, fractions of a second, we will either jump up, get ready to fight, we will jump up, get ready to run, and there's other things too, but we'll just stay with fight, flight. But most of the time we realize, oh gosh, it's just these natural things kind of caught me off guard. And then what happens is that, we go back to a settled, relaxed state, like we are right now. So the key then is that this happens for all of us, all the time, all of our lives. So nobody gets out of this discussion. When we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, what that is that this traumatic stress, an event, outside of the ordinary range of normal day-to-day behavior. And we're going to talk more in terms of war and combat veterans, but the trauma population is enormous, enormous. And every one of us are ostensibly prone to become one of those victims. We don't know what could happen next. We don't know what happens 5 minutes from now. We like to think we do. So what happens then is that as a result, we have the traumatic stress activates this part of the system, keeps us aroused, alert, active like this. But it doesn't really let this come back into play like it should normally. Ideally, it would shift back over this way and settle back down. Go to sleep, relax, and enjoy. But when we're too hyper up, then this puppy gets lost, and this guy starts to look. And this is always interesting. What happens is that when this guy gets the upper hand and does not let this guy get back in, we don't get to be able to settle back down. When we start getting in about somewhere around to this neck of the woods, we can call this the killing fields. Because people kill themselves when they get here. They can't settle down, they can't relax, they can't sleep, they can't do anything. They just constantly everything, and it perpetuates and it gets worse. So post-traumatic stress disorder is a bear. It's a killer. But for most people, it's not that dramatic. For most people, it's a crippler. They have varying degrees of this and that, and they go on. But to the extent that, what is anxiety? Have any of you ever felt anxious?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a quick description? What that is, why it is?
It's like kind of a burning sensation, a preoccupation, a future event or a past event.
The way this would be described is that, remember, the event happens, we flare to here, then we come back to here. Once we realize we don't have to deal with it, or we deal with it, and then come back to here. We always come back to here is the normal way to deal with things. But if we don't, then this guy wins. What happens is when we don't quite come all the way back to here, this is anxiety. We're on edge, we're some degree aroused to some extent, but we don't know why. We're like, something's not right, but everything's fine. So this is where it gets sneaky. Trauma victims not that heavily traumatized get this. And what happens is that this starts ruining their lives. This starts constraining them. This is the reason why people don't always take the next step and let's step out and get out of your comfort zone because they're already uncomfortable. They're trying to get back into a comfort zone. They don't know a comfort zone. So to the degree that we're anxious, then we go on there. Post-traumatic stress disorder listed in the DSM, well, it's the 4R now, but this is the 3, is an anxiety disorder. Because of just this reason. Because the person is keyed up, anxious to go, and cannot seem to get back to this first point. Okay, case in point, World War II, Sergeant John Bossalone, thanks for bringing this back in. The most decorated Marine in World War II. If you want to see him in action, watch the Pacific. I think I'm going to get a USMC tattoo. And I'm going to be 65 next month, and after watching this, I'm just so proud. This is after the talk. He was taken out of combat and asked to do war bonds. Talk to people, travel around the nation to encourage people, and that's what they did with the war heroes, because people get, oh, and yes, rope, and they contribute money. But none of these guys, none of them want anything to do with it. He was asked to give a talk. I had to concentrate. keep the feelings from taking over. I didn't want to cry here in front of everyone on this perfect day, but I had a hard time holding back. I don't know what was going on with me anymore. My emotions were all over the place. This is a classic. Back then, they didn't talk about PTSD. It's always been there. Since humanity's been there, people have been wired this way, and trauma has been there. They documented back in the Iliad. We're going way back to do that one. Whatever was going on with me, it wasn't getting any better. The title of the chapter is Hitting the Fan. The shit had really hit the fan. That's when he realized. He thought he was going crazy. And yet, really, all he was just a normal response. A normal human response to a horrible situation. So he was cued here, and he couldn't quite get back to here. And this is the key. If we can get back to your sanity readings, we get our life back to the extent that we can. And even if we can move a little bit, make a big difference. Dr. Tick, tremendous book, Breakthrough. He says this is trauma victims, and we're talking from women who had a horrendous time giving birth. We're talking about children having surgery and anesthetics. We're talking about people that put this thing over their eye when they're little because they had a lazy eye, being traumatized. Trauma comes from a lot of different places. Rape, abuse. I just was in a waiting room and I picked up a women's magazine, I flipped it open, and here's this model talking about, and just a quote, and I realized, wait a minute, she had been brutally assaulted. And the quote was, at least he didn't hurt your face, and he didn't rape you. And she said, and that was their way of saying it was okay, get over it. The classic response to a trauma victim is, get over it. Come on, I know these are people going through this stuff. But if you've been traumatized, no one ever gets to tell you that. If you've been whacked, you've been whacked. And you hold to that because you can't heal otherwise. Because all you'll do is try to keep them happy and you'll go under. And that's what we're finding. This thing here, the leading cause of death in the armed forces of the U.S. today is suicide. And the numbers are 1 a day. 1 a day. So 30 a month, 28 on 1 month, 31 another month. That's how dramatic this is, and that's how significant it is. So the key then is this event coming up. Jerry Yellen is a World War II fighter pilot. He started TM years ago, and it changed his life because he was living here. He was just holding it together for it. And that's what happens with so many victims of trauma. We say war victims, but it's much larger. It's the whole field. Is that they're holding it together. Somehow they hold it together. But that's it. It's a heck of a way to live a life. Anyway, there's a gentleman called Luke Jensen. He was on the front cover of the Des Moines Register. Well-known gentleman here in town. He's been in the reserves. He was on the police. He was on the cover. Extremely well-known, high-profile gentleman. Got called up, went to Afghanistan. His experiences there, he came back, and he couldn't cope with it. He got to the point where he's a loving fellow, wonderful wife, killed children, all that kind of stuff. And he almost killed himself in front of his family. And I was privy to a documentary that you'll all be able to see this Saturday at this event. Jerry Yellen sees us. He calls him and says, hi, I'm Jerry Yellen. I'm a World War II pilot. You're going to come to Fairfield. You're going to be our guest. We're going to teach you how to learn transcendental meditation. And I think you're going to get relief out of it. And in this tape, the wife goes, that's it. They wrote the wit's end. What do we do? What can we do? The VA doesn't have anything. They don't have anything for this kind of stuff. If they did, we wouldn't be 1 a day. So what happens is, and there she is. She goes, yes, that's it. And it's great scenes of her meditating, and it's just such a complete turnaround for this gentleman. And this is what we're finding in war veterans, tremendously stressed out war veterans. They start to almost instantly have this complete turnaround. This comes back because it's never really lost. It's wired in there, but this gets the upper hand because the rest and the profundity which rises in the psychiatrist Dr. Norm Rosenthal called transcendence. That's what transcendental means. We go beyond mental thinking. We don't sit there meditating. We transcend meditation. We transcend everything, and that transcendence is so profound. It kicks that back up again. And now all of a sudden, people are fresh and revitalized. And this brings us to our final topic. I wish I could take the credit for it. It's called post-traumatic strength. And this is what's supposed to happen when you go through a horrible event. You're supposed to come out bigger, stronger, better, and a leader to society because you've been there and you can say what it's like. When you talk to veterans and we should go to war, you talk to veterans, they go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, the people who want to go to war are not the veterans, because they know what they're talking about. It's always the civilians and the leaders and everybody else up there who, yeah, we should send in the troops. Whoa, 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 whoa. You don't have any boys in the troops, do you? If you did, you might think twice about that. So what happens then is this post-traumatic strength is what will come out of and comes out of, and there are those there'll have to be spontaneous healings, and some of these traumatized victims will break through and they'll come out bigger, better people, leaders for society that have so much to contribute. But what we're seeing is the opposite. We're finding kind of people that are just getting by. And the VA gives them some tranquilizer, okay, I'm all right, I can hold myself down. And that's all they're doing is just biding time. It's time to break through the trauma and gain the traumatic strength. And this is where we're headed. I would like to see each and every one of you there. 2 o'clock, it's a free event. In the weekly reader, all the instructions, you need to go online and register. They will. You'll print this out, or you can show an app on your phone. This is Toastmasters.
We'll take 2 minutes to hear the speaker. Let me welcome Jean Simington Craig to read objectives for Slobodan Jimuk Slicks. That's the last name.
Perfect. Do good listening.
That's it.
Yo!
Fellow Toastmasters and guests and viewers at home. Slobodan is going to be doing Project 2, Organize Your Speech. His objectives are to select an appropriate outline which allows the listeners to easily follow and understand his speech. To make his message clear with supporting material directly contributing to that message. Use appropriate transitions when moving from one idea to another. And create a strong opening and conclusion. Slobodan moved to Fairfield in the early 1990s and is currently enjoying the hot summer in Iowa.
Ha! Ha!
Perhaps in the minority there. Slobodan joined Toastmasters a month ago with the goal to improve his speaking skills. His speech topic tonight is reading success. Please help me warmly welcome Slobodan.
Thank you, Jim. Good evening, fellow members, viewers at home, and dear guests. I wish I read those instructions before I made my talk, or before I planned my talk. So thank you for giving me a chance to at least sit in right now. I hope you're all enduring this hot summer, or at least for now. But you can relax because I'm going to tell you about a really cool idea that will help you forget about that. I don't know about you, but that's what I really do. Whenever I get a new idea, I try to forget about it. Because they always, no matter how promising they are, they always ask for something extra, some kind of extra involvement. And my natural defense, aka laziness, forgets about them right away. But this one is special. This one is the one that I couldn't forget so easily about. And it's really, really good. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes.
Yo!
Good, because I'll tell you anyway. So, Fairfield is really a cool place. Well, not right now, but it's a really awesome place. Don't you think so?
Yes.
And it's also a home of many successful and published authors. Do you know how many books have people in Fairfield, the Fairfieldians, published at this point? Anyone? I don't know either. So I'm going to find out. My incomplete list has more than 60 books published by the people who live in this small place. And I think it's probably twice as many I mean, more than 100 books for a place of this size, in the middle of nowhere, I mean, Iowa, right? It's really impressive. Right? Now, how many of you have been also to the Fairfield Public Library? Right. That's an outstanding place too, right?
Yes.
I mean, their dedication to providing and sharing knowledge and culture and all the other services they do is outstanding.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but I think there's some kind of a connection between the authors and the library. Not they're both really outstanding, but there's some deeper connection. And how great it would be if we can put those assets together, combined with some additional resources or businesses to create a benefit for more than just a few of those. It's almost like integrating the best strengths that we have to provide new possibilities. Yes, I propose that the Fairfield Public Library provides or promotes the local authors. Can you see the possibility here? I mean, for example, sharing the knowledge and creating some kind of a community bond. The other thing, I don't want to forget any of those. I'm just going to look at my list. And then also is how about promoting local culture or defining Fairfield's strengths and its identity. Maybe recognizing how many ends I have.
I will tell you.
Some of them are on purpose. It's also, I mean, or just simply recognizing, celebrating and supporting the local talent. Now, there are also many benefits. There are many benefits for both the library, the authors, and the community. I mean, for the library, it gives us a chance to expand their service and their influence on the community. It also gives the chance to work with some of the most creative people in this community. You're combining the best with the best. And also gives them a chance to get new funding, probably, for that stuff. Now, for the authors, they can actually get a chance to show and share their knowledge and their work. They get exposure. I think they can actually create a networking with the other authors. I think it's very popular now to have people collaborate together on something different that each of them can do. Like many authors create something new by combining their strengths. They can also get support from the local guild of authors in various different ways. And the community creates a new leadership. It also finds a way to utilize better the human and institutional resources. Is it good so far?
Yes.
Okay, because now it becomes really interesting when we think about how can we implement all this stuff. So first we can complete that list that nobody knows about how many books are here, and make sure that our library has a complete catalog of all the books of the local authors. The other is we can actually come up with a week of promoting Fairfield's local authors in the library with an exhibition of their books. We can inspire the media to come and join them. So the locals, when they present their work later on, they actually have bigger audiences. We can also include the schools and the I'm just counting my ends. The school, college or university libraries. And beyond that, we can actually go to the libraries in Ottumwa, Keosauqua, even Des Moines, and have the same exhibition there of the Fairfield authors. We can also create a guild of those authors and some kind of funding or a fund for that. We can also have a fundraising show in the art center, I think it's called, and have maybe some other groups supporting them, like some of the artists, like singers and dancers and stuff like that. Now, this can go on and on and on. It's almost like coming from this field of all possibilities. It's basically endless how many things you can add to this. And The best thing about the whole thing is you can apply the same approach to other creative groups in Fairfield. Can you get the potential right now? I mean, are you aware of what is the potential of all that? Combining the best with the best. And that's, my friends, is how we breed success in Fairfield or in the Midwest. Thank you.
Let's evaluate the speaker for 2 minutes. Now we'll vote for the best speaker. Will all the speakers qualified, or who else?
Yes. Chris, Ron, and Slobodan all qualified.
Let's take 2 minutes to vote the best speaker. Welcome back. I'd like to welcome Upendra Sarman, the general evaluator, to take over the spectrum from here.
Yo!
I will evaluate the evaluators. First evaluator is Cindy Traynor, who will evaluate Chris Younger. Cindy Traynor.
All the Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, viewers at home, but most especially Chris. Wow! I haven't seen an icebreaker this well organized and deeply thought out in quite a while. Chris's strong points that he already has, he didn't use any notes, and he had an outline in mind. He showed it to me and then told me what to write for his introduction. But he walked in with this, and he had 4 or 5 items on here, just bullet points. And this is what he had in his mind and what he worked with when he gave the speech. I like the fact that Chris began where he began. Chris, who's Chris Younger? He started out where he was, where he came from, continued on to where he wanted to be, and there were 3 things, 3 rules: non-attachment, non-judgment. The 3rd one I missed because I couldn't remember it. But I liked you said 3 rules, and then you listed them. You had adequate preparation, and you wove a theme throughout the whole bit. Who is Chris Younger? With then, now, in the future, it tells us that you really gave this a lot of thought and reflection. I really like that you spoke audibly. Could you easily understand him in the back? Yes. And with the noise of the AC going on, that's really important. So you projected very well for your first talk. Your speech had a definite opening, body, and conclusion that was very well done. And I liked your organization and your closing with humor. Who's Chris? I don't know, but we'll find out. What you could have done differently that might have improved your speech. You did mention that you like to dance, and you certainly did. There was a lot of this back and forth. And it was constant throughout your talk. The one thing I suggest you can do is kind of choreograph your speeches, the next speech. If you have 3 points, make one of your points either on one side of the room or the other, but start in one side or the other. So make a point over here and talk to your audience. Come to your second point, come here and stand in the middle and talk to your audience. Make your third point over here. If you want to refer back to your first point, go back and stand where you gave your first point. And that helps the audience connect with you, with your ears, and with their vision. And the rest of it you'll have to read, because I'm out of time. Again. Please.
Thank you, Cindy. Our second evaluator is Dan Craig, who will be evaluating Ron Care.
Yo!
Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, especially Ron. Ron gave us a very powerful talk, a very informative talk. I'm going to go through the manual, touch on the points that it suggests that he should cover in this project. It's no surprise that with his level of experience and comfort at speaking that he was strong on almost everything. The first thing it asks us is, did he project sincerity and conviction? Definitely. It couldn't have been any stronger. Did he establish himself as a credible source? At the beginning, I was thinking that you should have used a little introductory material to say, oh, my education or the way I've researched this. But by the time the talk was over, I marked that out because it was clear from all the source material he had, the fact that he is a Vietnam vet, definitely a credible source. Did the opening catch the audience's attention? Yes, I thought the little snap of the fingers and then the explanation of how our body reacts did get our attention right away. Though I had the desire when I heard that it be more dramatic. Have us close our eyes, slam your hands together, something, just a little more oomph to it. But the mechanics were definitely good. Then it wants to know if he used facts and logical reasoning as well as emotions to make his points. Yes, yes, yes. He had great explanations of the nervous system, the parts of the brain. The emotion was very strong as he talked about the terrible amount of suffering that is there for many of the Vietnam vets and other vets. The one thing that I think that he needed to do more strongly for this project was in terms of appealing to the audience's interest. Now, in the broader sense, if we care about society, if we empathize with our fellow humans, then obviously we're very much drawn into this whole subject. But in the manual itself, it says, what's in it for me? And that could have been a lot stronger. I think you could have done that. Just give us a little more transition, a little more links. You did persuade us to attend this seminar, which was ultimately what you were trying to do. But I think that one point could have been better. The thing I really liked about the speech was the little simple thing with the red and blue cards. That was so strong. It worked just beautifully to organize the talk. The only other thing I can think to suggest would be a little more vocal drama occasionally. The point that I thought of that in particular was towards the end where he said, it's time to break through and gain post-traumatic strength. You gave it some oomph, but if you'd given it some post-traumatic strength, then that would have been even better. Just do it over.
Third evaluator is Jean Hamilton Craig, and she will be evaluating Slobodan. I have a problem remembering names.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, and particularly Slobodan. I'm going to use the manual as well and move right through. This is organize your speech. The first question is speech value. Was it interesting and meaningful to the audience? I felt that this could have been painted a little more vividly. For example, why do I care about having authors in the community in the library? Well, it makes Fairfield a more lively place to live in for all of us. And we're all Fairfielders. So that could be a stronger connection to get the audience into, well, why do I care about this? I like the humor. You know how many authors there are? I don't know either. That was kind of funny, and I like that. However, I'm going to hop down to opening here. I felt that the opening took a little while to get to the topic. Didn't quite know where we were going. And the next speech, project number 3, is going to be get to the point. So you're going to learn how to do that. Right. Preparation, was it researched and was there rehearsal? I thought it was, particularly once you got to the point about the library supporting authors and community. It looked like you had ideas in flow right there. I'm going to say something that could be improved is not to tell the audience how you're not prepared, because that immediately undermines the audience's confidence in what you're about to say or do. At least it did for me. So don't go there. The organization, I thought, was clear once we got to this main point, which was about the library and the authors and the community and this partnership amongst these 3 areas. The body. It flowed logically once we got there. Again, it needs to flow smoothly, appropriate support material. You outlined benefits. You outlined steps. Benefits to the authors, benefits to the community, benefits to the library. And then you went to steps. Make a list. Have a week of promotion. Get other libraries involved. And then I really liked how the speech got leveraged to, this could be involve libraries on the community, in the college, at Des Moines, everywhere, and other types of organizations, partnerships. So I really liked how that got bigger and bigger. The conclusion was pretty much, let's just be really open and out of the box on that. But you laid this framework for how these concepts could be taken to a much bigger place. Transitions were, I thought, comfortable and smooth. That's it. Liked your speech. Look forward to more.
Please take time to evaluate the evaluators.
Vote.
You vote for the evaluators. Are they all evaluators?
Go on. Reports.
Okay, now I will evaluate the
No,
evaluators.
the reports first. The reports come first.
Follow
Follow the agenda. It's right there. Underneath, there's an agenda.
He's been a time or two. He's got a folder for me.
Okay, now we will get 1 minute report from the timer.
Yeah, Will?
Go, Will!
Okay, it's timer. Table topics. Will Burns, 2 minutes, 3 seconds. Seth Braun, 2 minutes, 35 seconds. Vera, 1 minute, 19 seconds. Speeches for Chris, 5 minutes even. Ron, 12 minutes, 20 seconds. Slobodan, 7:13. Stacy, where's Stacy? Back here. I actually missed your exact time, but it was at least 2 minutes. Cindy, 3 minutes, 29.
Ah!
Dan, 3:35. Gene, 3:18. And that's my call.
Go!
Now, 1 minute report from the R counter, Seth Braun.
Ah!
As promised, I'm going to attack this club. Jyoti Raj Adhikari, 5 ahs, 2 so's. And there's this thing you do where you say and then you start, and then stop and restart. So it's just a little. Upendra, 1 so, 3 ands. Vera, very soft ahs and ahs. Very soft ahs and ahs. Very gentle ahs and ahs. And 1 and. Tom's clear. Will, 1 ah, 1 so, 4 buts, 3 ands, 3 false starts, 3 repeats. Seth was clear apparently. Stacy had 1 ah, 1 ah, 1 ah and 1 There's a distinction there. 6 ums. 1 you know, 3 so's, 2 buts, and 4 ands. Cindy had 2 buts, 1 lip smack. Chris had 2 buts and 1 and. Very clear, very, very good work on your icebreaker. Dan, 1 lip smack. Ron had 2 so's and 1 butt. Gene did a great job of saying however instead of saying but. That was very nice. Take notes. I say however. You did say but once when it wasn't necessary. Which brings me to the point that Slobodan made, that some of the ands are appropriate, and sometimes the word but is appropriate, and sometimes the word so is appropriate, and I took that into consideration, so I did not knock you for those. However, you did have 5 uhs, 5 ahs, 10 ums, 1 so, and approximately 9 ands, giving you very lenient use of the word and. A lot of hand claps at the beginning. Started out. That is my report.
Yo!
It was fierce enough.
Now, I will take the role of Darlene Martin from our permission.
You got one more role player.
Vera Rhodes, yes.
Go!
Marion, I was listening for the uses of the word endure, enduring, and endurance. And those who use that are Tom, Seth, Stacy, and Slobodan. Creative use of language, Jody Raj. Olympics and cockroaches, only things going back before Christ. And Chris, his 3 rules of non-attachment were very cool. 3 rules: non-attachment, non-resistance, non-judgment. And put yourself in uncomfortable positions where you grow or learn the most. And build a natural city. That was very inspiring, and would like to dialogue with you sometime how to work on our own natural city right here in Fairfield. And then going beyond, Ron Care, holding it together with TM, going beyond and holding it together. And then also post-traumatic strength, come through with a gift to society. Very good. I see a lot of people doing that with their post-traumatic energy. And then Slobodan, what is your trick to endure the heat? You say you like the heat, or are you there? So
Going to the pool.
Pardon me?
Swimming pool.
Swimming. Okay, that's a good one. And more than 100 books published in Fairfield Library, promote local authors, and the many benefits, field of all possibilities, combine best of the best. I thought those were good things to focus on and create here at home. Thank you very much.
I will give 2 jokes. One from the speech of Chris. And Chris, why can't Buddhists clean the corner of the room good? Because they have no attachments. My second joke will be from the evaluators. There were 3 evaluators, or 3 were students: Cindy, Dan, and Jean. Cindy said, when I study, I get so involved in the study, I even forget to sleep and I lose a track of time. So really, Cindy, you should look after your sleep, it's important. Then Jean came in, she said, you know what, when I'm involved in studies, I forget to eat and drink. And I just get so involved in the studies. Jean, please look after your health too. Then Dan came in, and Dan said, when I am studying, when I'm evaluating, I get so involved in my studies, I will forget to take the exams. That's a joke. Studying to take the exam, you lose the purpose. I have to make you laugh. That's the only way I can laugh. Okay, now after those rotten jokes, I have to give a sincere word to evaluate the evaluators. People have evaluated me in the past, and it's my time to get even with them. Stacy, you came in, I just love when you come, very natural, very sincere, you have a strength. You gave very valuable suggestions to Wilburn. You remembered his story. You said, do not drop at the end of this speech. You gave set your speech was very educational, it was very inspiring, but your end should be stronger and slower conclusion. And then you told Vera, I like part of the community, part as you play in the community. I want you to improve more on the stage management. Stacy, do the same thing what you told her.
Right.
Manage the stage better. Don't drop your energy in between your speech. And when your conclusion comes, give compliment to each one of them. So your conclusion should be very much like a dessert. People leave with a fancy taste in their mouth. Then I go to Cindy. Cindy, you greeted the audience. You move on the stage. You complimented with a lot of sincerity, mentioned strong points, notes, audible, and so on. But when you were doing this, you were reading and you lost the contact with the audience. Try not to use notes so much. Chris can do without notes. You can demonstrate that too. Then I go to Dan. I love when Dan comes. He smiles. He makes everyone happy. That's very positive, like a saint-like appearance. Went through the manual, very objective, sincere, pleasant. Gave the good suggestion, provide what is there for me. Vocal strength of change that. That was very, very good. Suggestion to Dan, same thing. Please keep track of time. Our time is as important as yours. Then I go to Jean Samilton Craig. You do not have to listen anything what Jean says. Just watch her. She demonstrates what she is saying. And she read the manual, greeted the audience. Presence of mind, she created the sense of humor in her evaluation. Clear, organized, very good gestures. I just watch Jean how she does it. And it started with suggestion, opened the topic, and I said, I will again say the same thing, no suggestion for you, Jean. Just watch her, how Jean evaluates people. Thank you very much.
Now we move to the award section. What we are waiting for. Our best table topic speaker is Will Burns.
Yo! Whoa, whoa!
The next award for the best evaluator goes to
Gene Simon Frey.
Again?
This is for you, icebreaker speech.
Chris?
Chris.
Yeah, Ron.
Go that way.
Second speech, please come.
Yeah, right on. Number 2.
Now the best speaker is Ron. Let me welcome our President Will Burns.
Go!
Yeah, Will. Take it home.
Thank you, Jyoti. My God, I think we'll actually end on time tonight.
Yes, sir.
So with that, thank you all for your great participation.
You got a ribbon.
We do have a ribbon here, and we have a guest. First off, I'll actually ask, do you have any comments from the group? Any?
That was great, as always, and I'm transferring my membership. So.
All right! Yeah.
And give a speech. But before you can even do that, you must actually show up here and attend meetings and see what's going on and to take that step. I just want to acknowledge you for that. So thanks for coming. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you all for enduring the experience here. Please help with the chairs, set up, tear down. And with that, meeting adjourned.